have in there. Okay, so we're now actually going to select one of these variations and actually put more detail, specific detail into the actual section. So choosing lighting as an example, I'm now going to use these are estimating functions. I'm going to use the multi-item insert option. Okay, so this is now taking me into my library, and I'm going to drill into a particular section in the library, and just for example we'll just select an item out of here. So I'm only going to select one item, but there could be any number of items. We'll just put a quantity in for this item. If we close out of there, just accept the defaults on this. That then puts the specific item into my section. Okay, so we'll just add another one into the next one down. Again, using multi-item insert. We're going to drill into electrical again, mechanical, and into select the chiller, close that window down. Again, I'll just make that 0. Don't want to add in twice, and then add in a quantity for my chiller. Okay, we need to edit the build-up for this one because it doesn't have a rate associated with it. So if we go in, put in a quantity for the labour and a value for the chiller. Just OK that and then close it down, and we'll say yes to the prompt about it being priced. And finally we'll add one more item into the containment variation. Close that down. Make this quantity 0. Well, 5 of those, 100 of those. So my 3 variation sections now have an item in each. Although this one doesn't have labour, so I'll just go in and edit the labour quantity for that. There's an option to mark these items as priced or unpriced, so I'm just going to mark them all as priced. Now we need to make some adjustments to these items to reflect the margin that we want to assign. So to do that we need to add some columns into this view. So again, it's a right click, properties. We're going to add in the gross rate column. I'm going to highlight the priced column here so that when I add in the gross rate it puts it just above that line. And I also want to show a couple of other columns, which is, if I scroll down here, adjustment and adjustment type. I'll just move this column up. And I could then save that as my default view, so that's what I'm doing here. So the gross rate column allows me to make a line adjustment, either as a percentage or rate adjustment to each of the items. And I do that by double clicking on the gross rate, change the adjustment mode to the type I want to use, and then key in the relevant adjustment. Just going to go back to our list of steps to check where we are. So we've now got to the point where we've marked up our variations to the desired level. We're going to now just check the variation screen, check that we can see what status we've got for each of the variations and that we've got the correct status assigned, and then we're going to transfer the variations into the budget. So I'll just go back to Summit. If I go to Tools and Bill Section Maintenance and drill into my variation Bill, there's my variation sections. I can see here that I've got 3 variations 2 at unapproved status. I've got my external reference in there as well. And just to make sure that the figures are being populated correctly, I'm just going to click on recalculate totals, and that then makes sure that the figures are populated in this screen. Okay, so if we close this down, we're now going to update the contract with the variation budget, and it will only update based on the statuses that we've assigned to those variations. So only the approved variations are going to go through into my contract. So again, I go back to my planning menu. It's the same menu option that we've used to create the initial budget, so it's estimating budgets on the menu. In this example, we're using budget 4 for variations, so we just populate the contract ledger budget number with 4, accept all the other defaults, and that's done it for us. So again, to check that now, click on contract inquiry, key in the budget number, contract number, click on the summary screen, and we've now got our original budget, our variations, so in my inquiry screen I've got my main list of cost codes, the estimate budget, so this is our original budget that we created, the variation budget that we've updated with the approved variations that we've just created, and then the total budget is the sum of the original budget and variations that we can then use to compare with cost and procurement information. So to finish off this video, if we need to change the status of a variation, so a variation that was approved needs to be reversed and we need to reinstate another variation, we do that by changing the status of the variation, then running the budget update again to update this variations budget column. So to do that, just to recap, we cancel out of the inquiry screen and go back to the estimating menu and do our bill section variation maintenance. There's our list of variations. We've got 2 unapproved at the moment, 1 approved. So this approved one has gone through into the budget update. If we wanted to unapprove it and reverse its status, highlight the variation line, click on edit variation, change its status, click OK, you'll see its status changes here. And if we were to then run the budget update again, that would then remove that budget update from the actual contract. And that completes this training video on updating variation budgets to the contract.